You know, ladies and gentlemen, the ongoing soap opera that we call the Montreal Alouettes of the CFL hit a new level today. It was announced, not say shocking, but someone who hit his amount of money should have done it before. The CFL, who took over ownership of the team just recently, has sold it to businessman Pierre Karl Peladeau. And you're probably saying to yourself in English Canada, who's Pierre Karl Peladeau? Ladies and gentlemen, this guy owns Quebecor. He's the president and CEO of one of the biggest media companies in Quebec. Owns a tough. Now, will represent the team on the league's board of governors. Now, according to CBC reports, for Pierre Karl Peladeau, acquiring the Alouettes is not a business transaction but a labor of love. Now, the native of Montreal, who at this writing is worth about $2 billion US, reached a deal to buy the CFL squad on Friday. While the terms of the sale remain confidential, part of the agreement with the team's former owners, Peladeau said that he needed to sign not a small check. This is not a business operation, this is about pride. Peladeau said in his introductory press conference at Olympic Stadium, the longtime former host of the Alouettes. The Alouettes have gone through a period of influence for a certain amount of time, and my engagement is for the long term. We will do what is necessary to make sure that our fans keep being proud of their team, is investment in the community, and to bring us success once again. Now, CFL Commissioner Randy Amboise called Peladeau's acquisition of the team the beginning of a wonderful new era and a win-win for the league. He added that approximately 10 groups were interested in acquiring the Owls, but Peladeau's passion too and the possibility to have local ownership in Montreal tipped the scales for him and the CFL governors. Now, the 61-year-old Peladeau becomes the first local Alouettes owner in the current iteration of the franchise, and the first since Leo Dantarin, he was very involved with the Habs as well, founded the original Alouettes in 1946. Those are the very qualities that we've seen in owners like Bob Young of the Tiger Cats. We've seen these exact same qualities in BC recently with Armour Dolman and his passion and dedication to the community. Now, Peladeau made a decision to personally acquire the team rather than doing so through media and telecommunication company he owns. Again, president and CEO. He said that the company is in the midst of a $3 billion wireless deal, which he did not want to disturb. The Alouettes are not a company generating profits. It doesn't mean we won't one day, but at this time it requires capital, Peladeau said. That optic, we don't want the Alouettes to be a distraction for our squads. It became obvious to me that a Quebecor implication in the Alouettes wasn't appropriate, but it will remain associated with the team because Quebecor can bring a lot to the Alouettes, and the Alouettes can bring to Quebecor. Now, CFL is currently committed to a media rights deal with TSN and RDS, owned by Quebecor rival Bell Media, until 2025. Now, the rights are managed by the league. There are no local rights, Peladeau said. We'll see what happens in 2025, but I think it would be premature to anticipate anything. We'll need to wait for the right time to assess that situation. Now, similar to what happened before, when the Nordiques were on TQS, Television 4 Saison, they were showing Thursday night games like the Saturday night games were being shown on Hockey Night in Canada. It was very successful. I can see Quebecor doing some type of streaming or pay-per-view channel. I think it would work. Especially a lot of people in Quebec don't like the TSN and RDS coverage of the CFL because you don't feel there's enough local content. Now, former Alouettes president Mario Cecchini was brought on by the league on an interim basis when he took over the team on Valentine's Day from the estate of Ontario businessman Sid Spiegel and Gary Stern, Spiegel's son-in-law. His mandate was to facilitate a transaction along with CFL banking partner Park Lane. Now, Cecchini was recently appointed as commissioner of the QMJHL and will take office May 8th. I'm not saying we'll take 3 years, but you'll need to give us a few days, a few weeks to take the necessary steps. Peladeau said in finding a future president. We've identified candidates, and it's important to take the necessary time in order to fully understand the objective. When asked if Annie LaRouche, a former Alouette staffer and current VP of the Canadian Elite Basketball League's Montreal Alliance, was a candidate, Peladeau paused, then laughed and told a reporter, "You're pretty smart," or "You're smart." Now, the Alouettes currently play at McGill University's Percival Molson Stadium, which the team does not own. The team trains at Olympic Park, which it doesn't own either. When asked about the situation, Peladeau said that the Alouettes would play at Percival Molson Stadium to start the season at least. It's not the most modern stadium. It's actually one of the oldest, but that doesn't mean there isn't something to do about it. Now, Peladeau said, I think that as we speak, it may be premature to give an answer on improving the stadium without having taken the necessary time. Now, the Alouettes' neighbors, CFL Montreal and MLS, have stated their intent to improving their conditions. President Gabriel Gervais said this week that the team was hoping to improving their home, Stade Saputo, or even building a new stadium. Now, Peladeau, who has had connections with a soccer team through Quebecor, didn't shut the door on a possible partnership for a new stadium at some point down the line. Toronto's BMO Field currently hosts the CFL's Argonauts and MLS club Toronto FC, who are both owned by Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. Now, CF Montreal owner Joey Saputo and I know each other very well, and I hold him and his family in high regard. It would be premature to consider. But is this something that is conceivable for the future? It's not impossible, and if it was, I can assure you that we should do it with great enthusiasm. So, ladies and gentlemen, as it stands right now, it's a work in progress, but I can make 3 suggestions to the new Alouettes management. Discard the current logo and style. If they can get it, bring back the old Alouettes logo circa 1974 to 77. You know the logo we're talking about, one of the best sports logos of all time. And try to make a alumni effort. The former Alouettes, there's been a lot of great former Alouettes over the years, to bring into the system to teach the Canadian rules of football to young players, get more involved in Acadie, get more involved in Atlantic Canada. Because the Alouettes at one time were just as popular as the Dallas Cowboys throughout Eastern Canada. Not Ontario per se, but, PEI, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Quebec. Because the Alouettes with Sonny Wade and Peter Dallariva and my good pal Alan Glominski, the former Quebec Nordique, had said to me many years ago, when we first became friends, that the Alouettes are special. He was a good football player at the time. The Alouettes were kind of recruiting him, but he said the Alouettes has always been a special team because their players have been special and the dominant players have been special. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget, the CFL is not dead. It's just living on. Thanks for listening. Bye.